we just got some pretty insane news regarding Crest acquisition and gearing alts going into the next patch, which is next week, the Siren Isles 11.0.7. So I'm going to quickly just talk about my thoughts on this and just kind of read through it for people who don't know where to find the article or don't know how to read. Anyways, big shout out to Squishy for posting this. It's over on Wowhead. The link will be down in the description, so if you want to check this out for yourself, because I'm not going to be going over everything in this article, but I think it's still really good. Basically, what they're doing is they're changing the acquisition of crests in a pretty significant way. I mean, this is arguably groundbreaking. It's been working the same way since the start of Dragonflight, so for the better half of like 2.5 years now. And now they are revamping the system to make it easier to gear. Now, is this going to stay the same? We're not quite sure. I'd imagine it will, but you know, they might always revert it when the next season starts. And I will say that this should have happened in 11.0.5. I'm glad it's not happening in 11.1. So this is probably like best case scenario. Anyways, so what they're doing is they are bumping up the failed key crest amount by 3. And they are bumping up the amount of crests you earn per key level. So instead of getting a flat 12 for timing or a flat 5 for failing, you're now going to get 12 for a 2, 14 for a 3, and then when you jump up to like Rune, for example, you're getting 12 for a 4, 14 for a 5, 16 for a 6, 18 for a 7, before you jumped up to Gilded Crests. With that being said, you're also going to get a benefit, a 2 crest jump for failing by 2 every key level. So it's 8 for failing a 4, it's 10 for failing a 5, it's 12 for failing a 6, and 14 for failing a 7. So Blizzard's kind of argument or reasoning for this is to incentivize people to stay in the key despite potential failure, or to encourage team effort. You know, there's been a lot of reports, and I've personally experienced this, where, and I don't think I've left a ton of keys, but there are people out there who, as soon as you wipe on a pull, they are like, they're going to determine this is not going to go well the rest of the run. We're not going to time it, and instead of wasting the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes of my time, I'm going to leave and just go queue up for another key because there's no penalty against me for leaving, like a debuff. So that's what people end up doing, and then it hurts obviously the 4 people involved, especially if that person was a tank or a healer. I've seen groups 4-man with 2 DPS through a key, but none of the matter. Basically, they're trying to incentivize people staying. What I think is interesting about this is it might shift the quote-unquote meta for key farming. You might see more people trying to run 5s and 6s because of this, because you're now going to be getting more than 15 runed per run if you time a 6. So it might be more incentivizing for people to farm 6s instead of farming 4s, because the recent, you know, or the current system, I should say, is you're going to get 12 regardless. So do the lowest level key in that bracket to farm the crest that you need, because it has the highest success rate. So farming 4s and farming 8s. Now, people might start farming 5s, because even if you fail a 5, you're still getting 10, which if you're working on an alt is still going to be generally an upgrade as long as you have a character at full 626 in every slot. Now, this is amazing for Gilded Crest, because now you can farm a lot more Gilded Crests as well. So when you get into 8s, it's still going to be 12, but if you fail an 8, it's going to be 8. But if you're farming 9s, even if you fail a 9, you're still going to be getting 10, which for people who have the discount is going to be an upgrade. Now, this might be a lot more people very soon, and there's 2 reasons for that. This week, they uncapped crests, meaning that you can now farm 8s and 10s and whatever all day long, and you can keep grinding out crests infinitely. They no longer cap. And something else that they're doing is that the Harbinger of the Gilded achievement now requires 636 in every slot instead of 639, meaning that you can craft the majority of your gear as long as you've been playing that character a few times throughout, like a few weeks throughout and you've gotten pretty lucky with myth track gear. You can craft gear in any slot that you don't have a 636 in or a mythic track piece, and you can now get the discount for your alts. And this has been a very frustrating system for me, for example, because my character, I am 638.81. I have yet to see, okay, that's not true. I've seen 1 pair of mythic boots drop, but it was from like one of my first vaults of the season, and I just didn't take the boots because I didn't need it, plus I knew I was going to craft in this slot. But basically, I have yet to see a single boot drop since then, and now that my guild is extending on mythic, I am praying that I get them I've been praying that I get them for my vault, and for the last 3 weeks I have not got them for my vault, and it's been frustrating because that means all of my alts are halted. I can't get the discount on my alts to upgrade their gear, and I've been holding off on using their crests so I can get the discount. So this change is going to be amazing. Like for me personally, I have 636, so starting next week, all of my alts will have discounts on Mythic track loots, which is just a massive win. So I think the new meta is going to be farming 9s and farming 5s. You might see some people farm 6s instead, because being above 15 means that every 2 keys here is going to be like roughly every 3 4s, right? Because you need 10. So you want to make it just above one of those numbers divisible by 10, which is 30. So 32 is going to be a little bit more efficient than farming like 12s, or a 4 getting 12 crests. Holy cow, English. They've stated like kind of 2 reasons. They think that they want to improve the incentive of rewards per level you go up. Outside of going from, like, there wasn't really an incentive to do 5s or 6s or 7s, because you would do 4s until you had enough rune crests to upgrade all your gear, and then you would try to jump into 8s to get gilded crests, and then eventually you would try to just jump into like 10s and 11s to get your portals or to start pushing IO, etc. Where now you're going to get a little bit more benefit from running those keys that are kind of in between the brackets, like the 5, 6, 7s, the 9s, 10s, 11s, instead of just like farming the lowest in that bracket. They also want people to have a shared interest in finishing, and they think that the drop of 5 crests was too punishing, which is just ironic because it's been in the game for like almost 3 years. So hopefully this change is good. Let me know what you guys think down below. Again, this kicks in next week, and it should make people's alts a little bit easier to gear. And running keys should just be more incentivizing. I hope they keep this. That's like my one concern, is like, I hope this isn't just like a band-aid fix to an issue and then they're going to just remove it come 11.1 because they want gearing to be slower again. They're making some other changes. So Gilded Harbinger crests to basically craft gear is now going to be 60 instead of 90. Again, this is a fine change, and this change should have happened a long time ago, but are they going to keep it like this? I'm going to do a whole video towards the end of the season talking about the whole like the patch as a whole and how gearing has felt. I personally have liked the acquisition, but I think like this crest change is really good. This is really good, and I think this Harbinger of the Gilded achievement should have been 636 from the get-go and not 639. I think this thing specifically is just like way too late. It's left a bad taste in my mouth pretty much all patch. Gearing my main has been a blast all season. You know, I'm still, even this week, well, I would say maybe not so much anymore, but pretty much up until this point, I feel like every single vault that I've had a chance to have upgrades. I've had upgraded gear every single week, you know, until like the last week or two, where I've now been kind of gearing out my my alt specs. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think. This will be linked down below, and I look forward to hearing all your thoughts. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.